Welcome back to Blooming in Brisbane. You know, it's always a joy to have lovely thick foliage plants in our gardens, and in this episode we're going to take a little bit closer look at how we can maintain these plants to ensure that our plants live for a very long period of time and we can enjoy them to their fullest. You know, grevilleas would have to be amongst one of the most popular of all garden shrubs for our gardens. Most people think because grevilleas are constantly in flower that they really shouldn't be pruning them. So I'm going to be pruning this one quite severely down to a low shrub, and in turn it will actually start to redevelop its nice new growth. So to begin with, the height that we see here needs to be removed. This is quite a woody stem, so the plant is struggling to get the information, or the nutrition I should say, up to the top of this plant, but by lowering it, it's going to have a much easier time to do that. So I'll get right in the middle here. And another one on this side. And right down here. And I know I might take a little bit off this side also. And maybe one more for good measure. Now I know what you're thinking. You're probably feeling that I've pruned this far too aggressively, but in actual fact this plant will respond quite rapidly over the next couple of months to put on lovely lush new foliage and in turn gorgeous bright colourful flowers. You know, the old Morea paniculata, or mock orange to most of us, is a fantastic shrub. It's a great all-rounder, but this one here, as you can clearly see, needs a really good prune. It's been badly pruned to start with. So this is an amazing resilient plant, so no matter where you prune it, it will just bounce back with great gusto. So I'm going to bring essentially what is a 2.5 metre to 3 metre shrub down to a very low manageable level where it can put on some beautiful new growth and can be turned into a very lush looking shrub once again. So I've got my trusty pruning saw here. It's always interesting to know that when you've got a pruning saw, always you cut on the back stroke. You don't prune on the forward stroke, it's always on the back. That's how they are designed. So I'm going to take this quite low. As you can see, it makes very quick work. Right, so as you can see, we've managed to hack this quite low to the ground. But you know, I wouldn't be too much worried about this plant because Moreas are amazingly resilient, tough and hardy for every garden in southeast Queensland. This plant is going to be rejuvenated and to make it look lovely and young and fresh again. You know, I'm sure we all recognise this shrub. It's the old Sheena's Gold Duranta. I'm pretty certain that there's not a garden in Brisbane without them at the moment. They've become so popular over the past 20 to 25 years for home gardeners. Well, you know, they're tough, they're hardy, and they do provide a good privacy screening. But what happens when they can tend to get a bit ratty? It's really important that you prune a Duranta directly after it's finished flowering every season. They have very attractive vanilla perfumed blooms, but you want to discourage the berries from forming. You see, the berries are quite toxic to animals and young children, so you really need to remove the likes of this happening from your Durantas. Maintenance is the key to ensure that your Durantas can stay thick and foliaged, provide the screening and the lushness that you're looking for without the dangers of this occurring. So what we're going to do is look at pruning this shrub again quite severely, but into a nice shape where it can form lovely lush new foliage, and again look to what it's supposed to be doing, and that is giving us a lovely green foliage for our gardens. Okay, so what you can see here is that we have quite brought down the height of this Duranta, but don't ever think you can never do this to a Duranta. All of them will take a very severe pruning. In fact, what this is going to do is allow a lot of sunlight to get down into the center of this plant so these main trunks can start to put on soft new growth again. And when it gets to approximately 1.5 foot higher than that, or maybe 30 centimeters more, that's when you start to trim it, and you can maintain it at that size, and you'll always have a nice thick shrub that won't go into flower and won't provide those terribly toxic berries. But apart from that, that's all they really need. So a bit of regular pruning on plants like this is what's going to ensure you're going to have lovely, thick, luscious plants in your garden.
I truly love visiting garden centres, and today I'm out and about in Sunnybank Hills, and I've popped into the Green World Plants Plus Garden Centre.
So John, I've absolutely enjoyed walking around your beautiful nursery. How long have you been in the industry for?
Well, I started very early when I was a kid, straight out of high school, went into horticulture college in Italy, and my family then came to Australia, and I've been working in this business ever since, which is since 1970.
So you obviously are very passionate about gardening.
Very passionate about it all, yes. Yep.
Is there a favourite, do you have a favourite aspect of gardening?
Yes, particularly to do with water features, waterfalls, and yeah, just general garden design like that. But also bonsai is one of my passions.
And why bonsais?
Well, there's a lot of art involved, and there's a lot of heartache involved in it, and a lot of time, and makes it very interesting. Yes, yeah. So I got hooked into that many years ago, and I'm still going. We now actually have a bonsai school here, which is not run by myself, but by an expert, a real expert.
So John, what are your favourite 5 colourful plants?
My favourite 5 at the moment, they would have to be kale. Ornamental kale is a rage at the moment. We can't get enough of it, which is true. That blue lobelia is very, very beautiful and very popular as a permanent plant. All the potted colour, things like annuals, like obviously the pansies and violets are really lovely at the moment. Petunias, as you can see, I've got some lovely pots of petunias there. And my other passion is succulent plants, and that's what I have a huge garden of myself. And because they come in thousands and thousands of different varieties, so that's the other passion I indulge. Yeah. And I started collecting cacti and succulents when I was probably 10 years old, even before I went to horticulture school. I now not only collect them, but I actually grow them to sell. And I like to grow larger specimens, which are really quite attractive and make a statement around any sort of garden. And yeah, so they are very popular with our customers here.